All right, so today, guys, we're going to be working on a 92 Honda Accord LX Coupe, and we are going to be replacing the shifter cable on it. It's actually a very simple and easy process. The cable broke the other day, so some of the stuff is already taken apart just underneath the vehicle because the cable broke, and I had to jack the vehicle up, take my pair of pliers, and actually shift the gear manually so I could go somewhere. So now I'm going to be replacing the cable itself, and I'm going to show you guys how it's done. Alright, so yes, I do know the floor is dirty in here. Just picked this car up a little while ago. I mean, don't get me wrong, some of that stuff over there is mine, but this was the problem. So I took all this stuff around. It's just a couple screws. There's one that would be over here, one over here, and then two more on each side right here. And then the console pulls up. As you can see here, it pulls out the cup holders and all that with it. So what we're going to have to do is take these two bolts out right here. I believe they're 10 millimeter. And then we got to get this bracket out right here, which holds it in place. It's actually a fairly simple job to take that out. What I do here is go ahead and take a pair of pliers or a screwdriver or whatever, stick it underneath it, begin to pry up on it. There we go. Now that pin is out, and that's what holds this stuff right here together. So what was originally happening was the car would not go into park, but the cable itself did break, and that's a problem, and I'll show you guys what I am talking about. So I'm going to go ahead and disconnect these two real quick, these two bolts, and then we got to crawl underneath the vehicle. Down under here, you can see through the floorboard, there's two more that you access from the bottom side, and that's where you take it apart and slide it back through. Then I'll show you guys real quick where it connects to the transmission and how I actually got this thing back home after it broke. Alright, perfect. It's nice when you can reach them from the backside, you know, sometimes. Alright, so that's got those loose for now. We're just going to go ahead and leave that in place till we get underneath it and get that part disconnected, because I just don't want there to be any extra slack pulling back and forth on it. And then once I get the bottom out, go ahead and pull these out the rest of the way, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so here we are underneath the vehicle. This is where it attaches to. As you can see right here, this is the cable, and it runs back up underneath and inside of the cab right there. So we're gonna have to probably take the heat shield down if I can't reach up underneath there, but we shall see when the time comes for that. But for right now, this right here is where I said it connects to, and there we go. That's what changes the gears. And if you get in a pinch and you have to, be safe doing it. Make sure both tires are off the ground, and preferably you have somebody helping you that can push in on the brake. So obviously, if you pay attention to your shifter on the inside, when gears park, reverse, neutral, first, third, second, and first. So all the way forwards would be park. That would be, if you were under here, that would be clockwise. So counterclockwise would therefore be putting it in reverse, neutral, and then drive, fourth. And if you can, have somebody in the vehicle have them put the brake on. And make sure your parking brake is on as well. Crawl under here, take a pair of pliers or even a screwdriver if you have one available. Stick it through there and twist it until it is in the gear that you need it to be in. And then you can limp it home. Just hope that you don't need to reverse a lot. So try to just make sure you keep it going in a straight direction. So now I'm going to work on this over here and try to get that out. Wish me luck, guys. Alright, so under here, as I was taking this off for the heat shield, the stud busted off right there. I did not over here, but I still can't get it off on this side because you got to disconnect all the way down this thing, and I don't feel like doing that today, so I just put this side back for now because obviously can't reattach to anything, so I'm just going to bend it back up when I'm done and probably just find a way to secure it somehow. But under here, I can't get this bolt to budge. As you can see, it's pretty rusty. When you get into a situation like that, go ahead and take a torch to it and just burn the whole car down. No, I'm just kidding. Use a little torch. You can pick them up at Harbor Freight, Walmart, Menards, Home Depot, wherever. And be careful while you're doing it. Just heat that up real good and it will make the metal expand. And then you will be able to get the bolt out. So I'm going to go ahead and heat it up. As you can see here, I'm not going to use I'm not going to turn it up all the way, just enough to heat the area, because as you can see, it's getting warm, and I don't want to set the car on fire. Not today, maybe tomorrow, but right now, we're just going to heat this up. Alright, now as we can see here, once it was heated up, now it seems to be coming out. So we're going to get that out of the way, and then we'll get our way up to those other bolts up there. So I got to use both hands for this project, but I just kind of want to keep you guys updated. Heating that up really helps. Again, just be careful. Don't set your car on fire. Also, guys, forget all that other junk like WD-40 and all that. Get some of this stuff. It's amazing. I mean, yes, I did just use a torch because that was the quickest and easiest thing to do. I didn't want to spray this stuff and put it everywhere. But I just crawled back inside the car, and I'll show you here. The two bolts that are coming through over here, I went ahead and soaked those, and they should spin out a little bit easier. Once they get going, they'll just kind of keep spinning. You know, inside of here, they're not rusted, but on the bottom side, they are. So, by soaking them up here, once they get moving, they're going to move a lot easier. Plus, it's going to help seep through and get down on top of the rust on the inside, which is pretty much what's keeping it stuck. So, again, that's just another little quick tip. Spray these down, and yeah, go from there. Alright, so I got the bolts out from underneath. Now we're going to finish taking these two bolts out. And this whole assembly right here will pop up and slide out. So, I'm going to go ahead and get these out. Show you guys how it just pulls up and out. Which you can see it's pretty self-explanatory. But I'll go ahead and show you guys. And, already got these pretty loose. So, I'm going to go ahead and use both of my hands here. And once I get these bolts out, I'll show you guys how to just lift it up and push it out. Alright, so I got the two bolts out, and this guy here. Just lift this up, and you can slide that whole thing out. Just make sure it clears everything on the inside. You'll have to reach under there and twist it to get it through there, otherwise it'll get caught up and you'll crawl back underneath the car. If you don't push it through all the way, and you're gonna get mad, because I know I would. Maybe not break stuff mad, but you get pretty irritated when you realize you can't get it out. So go ahead and twist it sideways, push it through, and that's all you got to do there. So remember I was telling you guys about that cano stuff? You can see it really did come all the way through on both sides here. And notice, not coming around there. I mean, it's overlapping right there. But I think that's pretty amazing. You know, I just squirted it down real good. And it, you know, definitely creeps through all the rust and definitely helps out. Alright, the next process here, we got to get this lever arm off of here. There is a pin running through there, and that's what disconnects it from here. Take that out, and that'll slide out, and we'll put this on the new one. Alright, so I got that swapped out, and yes, I did reuse the same pin. Why? Because I did not have one available right now, but this one seemed, I mean, it's got a little rust on it, but seemed like it was in really good condition still. It wasn't brittle, it bent right back. So I used it. It's really not a hard job to just crawl back under the car in the area where this is located, and you will be seeing that here shortly. First, we got to get this put back in. Going to be the same process as how I took it out. So I'm not going to be showing you guys that because it's really hard to film under there and work at the same time and be able to show you guys. So reverse of what I've already done, slide it back through, connect it on the inside, put the bolts back underneath, and then we'll connect this to the transmission, and I will show you guys that when I'm done here at the end. But like I said, I'll probably end up replacing this, but honestly, if you notice right here, this little clip sets underneath there, and that's what's holding it in place. So really, nothing gets tugged or pulled on with this pin running through here. So, I mean, it's a Carter pin that just holds this in place. Really not worried about it breaking, like I said, because it seemed pretty bendable still. It didn't seem fragile. Nothing broke. Bent out, pulled out, went back in, bent back in place just fine. So, really not too worried about it. So, if you pull one of these out and it's really dry on the inside, put some lubrication in there. Make sure this is, you know, able to move back and forth real good, because you don't want it to seize up and start to rub and wear the parts, because then it'll just break down again. And yeah, so let me show you guys exactly what happened here with the other one. So here's the old one right here, and when you grab a hold of it here, push this in, nothing moves back and forth, right? If I grab a hold of this other one, it moves. And that's what has broken on here, is something right in here, because this guy just spins around, and it's not supposed to do that. It's supposed to have tension on it. So that's what broke, and that's not going to necessarily say it's a super common problem, but that's a common problem whenever your car won't shift. Is something is obviously broken in the linkage, and on these Hondas, this would be the culprit. Is this little guy right here. 9 times out of 10, I guarantee you it's broken right there, because this is the first time that I've heard of this happening. People had to replace them, and then it actually happened to me. And, well, here we are, making a video about it, showing you guys how to fix it yourself. So, we're just going to take this and put it in the catalog pile. and reinstall this nice new shiny one. Yay! Alright guys, so after you get everything else installed, this is where it will connect to. You'll run that through in there. It just sets right into place. It'll come up. And this is the lever right here. If you notice, here is your bolt that holds it into place, and that's what shifts the gears back and forth. Put this in the neutral position, so make sure you put your shifter itself in the neutral position, which meaning that this would be straight up and down. So we'll be able to take your socket and stuck up in there. It is a 10mm bolt. And then we'll take the housing here and stick back on. And it is 4 bolts that hold it on. Give me a second here. This sets into place just like that right there. You have a bolt there, a bolt there, a bolt here, and then one up here, and you'll have to get the bracket aligned back up to it right there. Not a hard thing to do. And that's all you gotta do, guys. So I'm gonna put this back together and go take it for a test drive.